I went to Rwanda in 1998 and apologized to them that we didn't do anything to try to stop the genocide. And some people criticized me for it. We were trying to get into Bosnia and stop that. We still had a Congress that not only didn't want me to go into Bosnia, was mad because of what happened in Somalia. And the whole thing was over in 90 days, and we just missed it in a bad way. And I thought it was important for me, because I would try to establish a new partnership between the United States and Africa, to go there and just say that. Just say simply, we should have done something, we didn't, and I'm sorry. And then I told them personally I'd spend the rest of my life trying to make it up to them, and I have. My foundation worked with Dr. Paul Farmer, a lot of you know him, from his work in Haiti. We now rebuilt hospitals in all the regions of Rwanda. There were none outside Kigali when we started. We do the AIDS work there. We're helping with malaria, with a lot of other things. We're working on economic things. I helped raise the money for them to build their genocide memorial. And I spend a lot of time there. And I'll just tell you two stories. Because every person who's ever had a loved one die in the Middle East will identify with this. In '98, Hillary and I went to Rwanda, and the environment was still thought to be so dangerous that the Secret Service asked me to hold all my meetings in the airport in Kigali. So I did. I met with, first of all, leaders from the Lake Country to talk about problems in the Congo, and we were trying to work through that. And then I asked to meet with survivors of the genocide. So they hauled in 6 people, and they were astonishing people. I remember one handsome young man had his arm hacked off at the elbow, and he laughed that he was now a one-armed soldier for peace. Said it was the only army you could get in with one arm. I mean, it's amazing, totally without self-pity. But the last person to speak was this really attractive woman in the bright-colored dresses of the African Lake District. She had a beautiful blue dress on and no visible marks on her. And keep in mind, most of these people were killed with machetes. Few were shot, few were burned. Most of them, the 800,000, were hacked to death. And she said, in this very dignified way, she said, you know, you may be wondering what I'm doing here because you can't see any marks on me. They are all on my back. He said, when they came to our village in the Holocaust, our neighbors who were Hutus, the majority group, sold us out. It was quite a shock to us because our children played together every day. We shared meals at all the holidays, everything, but they were frightened and they gave us up. I was hacked on the back and they thought I would surely bleed to death. I awoke in a pool of my own blood to see my husband and 6 children lying dead around me. And I screamed out to God in anger that I had been spared. Then I realized it must have been for some reason, and it could be nothing as mean as vengeance. So I do what I can to help us begin again. What she did to honor her children was to basically open a private orphanage. And she took in children who were orphaned from both sides, from all ethnic groups, and she placed them with loving families without regard to their ethnicity, to tell people they had to begin again. Okay, fast forward, a few years later, I go back to Rwanda, and they finally finished the Holocaust, the genocide memorial that I helped raise money for, so they take me in. Now, if you've ever been there, if you haven't, you should go. The Africans are not nearly as hung up about bones as we are, partly because they have no embalming services. So the genocide memorial in Kigali, Rwanda, is largely a massive crypt with the bones of 300,000 people who have been registered by their loved ones. And they brought their bones there, and they put them in these 3 crypts cut into the side of a mountain with beautiful little gardens on top of each top. And then there's this museum. So this great-looking young guy gives us a tour. This kid looked like he was an MBA from Harvard or something. Great-looking guy, about, I'd say, 27 years old. Really articulate. And he takes us through, and it's a small museum, but it graphically demonstrates how the shoot down of the plane killing the presidents of Burundi and Rwanda was manipulated into mass fear and the killing and what happened. So I said to this guy, I said, did you lose anybody? He said, I lost my parents, a brother, a sister-in-law, almost all my uncles and aunts and their children. He said, if you stop at first cousins, we lost 73 people in my family. And I said, isn't this hard for you? And he smiled. He said, oh, no, this is important for me. This is therapeutic. He said, we have to purge ourselves of our hatred, and we can only do it if we are honest about what happened and about what our options are now about beginning again. This is important. This is part of what I do so that I can be well and whole and live again. And I said to him, you know, you remind me of a woman I met the last time I was here. First time, and I described that whole incident, the woman, the 6 children. He smiled and he said, well, I should remind you of her. She's my aunt. They're astonishing people.